First of all, I would like to wish you long life according to the Sri Lankan way. Ayubowan.
Oh, okay. What's that? Can you say that again? And also, I'm so
Okay.
impressed, because not every woman can actually go through this because being a mother and then you're actively conducting your research and especially
So I believe that I will be a continuous learner till I die because life will never stop teaching you. First of all, Vishantini, I must mention that I'm a researcher who never worked under a research grant for my degrees. Because I never wanted to work under rules and guidelines, but
Hi everyone, welcome to our episode 7 of the Innovators Minutes. Today we're going to have with us Dr. Chathurie from Sri Lanka. She's a lecturer in physics in Open University of Sri Lanka and she's also an education counselor. She's going to share with us a bit of her journey during her PhD years in conducting research in generating electricity using banana pith, and it's 100% biodegradable. How amazing is that? She also will be sharing some of the innovation process, some of the challenges that she faced in commercializing the product, and also a bit of a programs she have conducted in order to educate those youngsters out there who like to venture in STEM. So stay tuned and hear the podcast. Okay, hi Chaturi, how are you?
hi Vishantini, nice to be here. First of all, I would like to wish you long life according to the Sri Lankan way. Ayubowan.
Oh, okay. What's that? Can you say that again?
Yes,
What
I
does that
guess so.
mean?
I wish you long life. That's what is meant by Ayubowan. Thank you so much for your kind invitation, dear Vishantini. That it's my pleasure to be here, honestly.
Oh, it's my pleasure to have you in my podcast because to have incredible lady like you, especially being a mother to one, and then you're very active in your research. And I went through your profile and you have very interesting research. I really wanted you to have in my podcast because of the research that you're conducting at the moment. And also I'm so
Okay.
impressed because not every woman can actually go through this because being a mother and then you're actively conducting your research and especially your major in physics, that's very rare. If you ask me, it's very rare people would really major in physics, and it's so interesting. So tell me a bit about yourself, Chaturi, and how do your passion grew in STEM?
Okay. I'm Chathurie Nupearachchi and I'm a physics lecturer as well as a researcher in the field of condensed matter physics. And I got my PhD in 2019 from the Open University of Sri Lanka. Apart from being a lecturer and a researcher, I'm a writer, education consultant, counseling psychologist, and a speaker who is passionate about quality science education through popularization. And Shantini, to be honest, we all know what STEM stands for, right? So S for science, T for technology, E for engineering, and M for mathematics. So from my childhood, I was kind of an independent learner through observation and experiment. So I believe that I will be a continuous learner till I die because life will never stop teaching you. So what happened was like later on in my life, especially during my undergraduate days, I found the beauty of physics. So when I mature with time, I thought that, okay, I should share my knowledge as a mentor to the aficionados of next generation in the higher education field. And that is why I believe my lecturing and research interests have provided some useful links between physics, science education, and popularization for the past decade, actually. 12 years to be exactly.
Okay, it's interesting. So now that you are in academic line, right? So talking about academic line and you're conducting your research, I'm sure you will have some sort of collaborations with industrial partners. So what do you think on this research gap between this academicians and also industrial researchers themselves? Like, what do you think on this research gap?
First of all, Vishantini, I must mention that I'm a researcher who never worked under a research grant for my degrees because I never wanted to work under rules and guidelines, but I really respected my deadlines. So I feel that a researcher should have some freedom to daydream, Vishantini. Compared to Sri Lanka, I mean, I'm talking in the Sri Lankan context, it is very competitive, and the process of getting a grant consumes a lot of time. And if I talk from my side, I could not totally commit to full time research work due to my lifestyle with different roles that I have mentioned before. And as a researcher, I mean, this is what I have noticed in my field of physics, Vishantini. I believe a researcher is bound with a time frame if he or she is working under a research grant from a governing body or an industrial company. And there are pros and cons on these approaches. But don't you agree there's a little bit of pressure to finish the investigation somehow? Am
Yeah,
I correct?
yes, that
Because
is.
as a result, yeah, as a result, some of the researchers tend to focus primarily on convenient practical applications and do publications to move forward without proper guidance and the thirst for research. The best example I can give is like, have you seen the Looney Tune cartoon of the character Tweety Bird? With the black cat is always chasing that particular yellow canary bird. The famous tagline is I saw a woody cat." Can you remember
Yes,
that
yes, I
cartoon character?
remember childhood
Yes.
memories.
What I want to emphasize here is Vishantini, like, haven't you noticed the techniques that Black Cat used to catch the bird? I mean, there are not techniques with innovation, according to my point of view. I mean, they are just inventions, and that's why they do not succeed in the long run. I mean, to catch the bird. So, same concept can be applied to our real life problems too. So, to give solutions to our existing problems, the inventions, I believe, should lead to innovation by forming some sort of a novel idea to the society. And very few developed countries are encouraging to conduct deep, practical, innovative research approaches while promoting serious scientific investigation. So, this is definitely why many countries like Sri Lanka have a community from brain drain. I mean, those people are, who are happily settled down in countries like USA, UK, Australia, China, Japan, Korea, etc. Those are the countries that come into my mind. In my opinion, in the global perspective, what I can say is I feel that both academic and industrial parties still lack proper collaborative efforts, mutual understanding, interaction, and connection, as I explained. So they still tend to play individually on different grounds according to their own standards. And that is why there is a created gap.
So you personally have experienced all this with the industrial partners?
The thing is, I mean, we don't straightforwardly go towards industrial partners because in our campus we have an industrial license unit. So
Okay.
this is the party that goes towards that side. So all we have to do is provide the necessary information of our particular finding or something, and they will do the job for us. So they are like the intermediate party who will help the academia and the industry people.
Okay, in your opinion, right? So you conducting research on your own in university and also having a partnership with the industry, which one is much more faster? Like, do you think any in terms of their duration is much more faster partnering with the industry, or it doesn't matter?
It depends on the subject that you are working on, Vishantini. Like, I mean, if your project is much focused about a product or something else, then it will be much more that if you can get a competitive partner through your industrial license, because it's all about rules, regulation, laws, and intellectual property rights. There are so many things. I mean, we as researchers, we are just considered about one particular thing, that is like developing our research. So that is the main issue here. So it depends on what you are trying to do research about, and it depends on the area that you are in. I mean, it can be physics, chemistry, computer science, botany, zoology, the STEM area specifically, and the thing that you try to find it out, the research question.
This one. So I wanted to ask you, Chathurie. So since you've been working on your research, right? So do you mind sharing some of the research that you've been focusing on lately? Like in very general, like what are you working on? Something very interesting. I'm sure you're working some because physics itself is very interesting. So do you mind sharing something which is on your research?
Sure. My area is about rechargeable bio batteries, Vishantini. During my PhD, I was fortunate to work towards to get a patent to the Open University of Sri Lanka with my PhD supervisor, Professor Susira Pereira. And this particular patent is local because we tested upon the applicability of a local banana pith as an electrolytic media for a bio battery with carbon and mild steel electrodes. So, I mean, residual research work of my PhD is carried out at a very snail speed due to COVID pandemic right now, because for about 6 months the universities were closed last year, and again the universities were open, and now again it's been closed for 2 weeks. So there was no consistency in my residual research work of my PhD. Uh, if I talk about the current situation of it, we need to do a lot because we need to go ahead before commercialization. We need to look at certain aspects like certain parameters of performance, the structure, dimensions, physical state of the biobattery. Because as the name suggests, biobattery is the name biobattery suggests, that means it's degradable. So we have to think of methods, mechanisms, structural modifications to keep it with less biodegradable nature. So that's it. I'm
This
working on
entire
biobattery.
this entire research is like it's the novelty deems at which part of it it deems the novelty part.
The novelty is about using the banana pith for the rechargeable bio battery.
So
That's
that's
the aim.
the entire research itself is deemed novelty. So it's not like you're enhancing any previous research and all.
The thing is, previously, back in 2012, this banana pith has been used for galvanic cells by a different research
Okay.
group in another university. What we tried to concentrate was about the rechargeable bio batteries side, Vishantini, because that's the novel area that nobody has touched upon. And we have taken specific local banana variety, that is Angun, which has not been tested by anybody in the world, because it's in Sri Lanka, it's a Sri Lankan version. So that's the area I believe that being the novelty part, and the industrial application is obvious. It's the application of a bio battery. So still we
Okay.
are working on.
That's so interesting. I mean, it's so it's great to hear that you're doing something that it's really great and it's biodegradable. That's what we are supposed to move forward to, right? And I wanted to ask, what are the challenges you actually face in commercializing? Okay, you are yet to commercialize this. I mean, I know it's in the midst of process of commercializing, but
Yeah.
what do you think? From the start of you doing your literature review, you were conducting your ideation process and everything, right? So, what are the challenges you actually face, and what are the challenges you might face in order to commercialize this research of yours?
According to my knowledge, Vishantini, I think I have two challenges. I will explain them briefly.
Okay.
First, I believe, Vishantini, we as academics lack in marketing skills of knowledge. We may have the knowledge, we know what to say, but is it enough? No. We need to have certain skills. That means it should emphasize on how to say, and we need to have an attitude, how much to say, and finally, we should have wisdom. That means we should know how to differentiate what to say and what not to say if you need to commercialize your product. And normally the people in the industry, Vishantini, they demand quick results due to their investment issues, and we as researchers are running against the time in such a haste to convince them. So I believe this practice should not be encouraged, and therefore I believe both parties should be in mutual terms of equilibrium, where the researcher can quench the thirst for knowledge and look into the industrial needs as in the customer's point of view. And on the other hand, the investors also need to have sort of lenient policies, regulations, MOUs to encourage the researcher, because by the end of the day, you have to get the things done from the researcher. So these are the two challenges that I see, and I hope I will face in the near future as well: the lack of marketing skills in knowledge and the equilibrium between the academia and the industry.
Okay, so that's on the commercialization part. So when you were doing your research in the beginning process around the literature, and for you to define this problem statement, how long does it even take you to actually come out? Okay, this is what I'm going to do. From it's like you come out with a lot of brainstorming, and you'll have a lot of discussion with your lecturer, and then for you to decide, okay, this is the topic I'm going to go on. So how long does the process takes for you?
To be honest, this banana pit idea was like implanted in my brain when I saw the first research with the other university back in 2012. So at that time, at that time I was doing my MPhil degree, and I was wondering about a PhD research topic. But after marriage, I went to United Arab Emirates, to my husband's country, and worked there as an executive MBA because I couldn't get a job related to my
Okay.
science qualifications. So in the meantime, then I was wondering, okay, because I became pregnant in 2016, and I was wondering, okay, what's the area that I should concentrate on my PhD? Then, like Eureka, it clicked me, that bio banana pit scene, I should do something to elaborate for my PhD. Then I had like a couple of discussions with my PhD supervisor. He said, okay, why don't we concentrate on a different area, like a different application niche? And then only I came across, okay, then this is something, because it was totally my idea that I put forward in a plate. So this is my research proposal to my PhD supervisor. And he also took the risk, okay, we'll have a go at it. So that's how the idea like born into go towards the rechargeable bio battery side.
Oh, interesting. What about, okay, so when you're conducting this research and everything, right? So I'm sure, what would be your advice to those women out there, especially who wants to venture into STEM, and your advice to women who, especially married women who wants to pursue their studies? So what would be your advice? Because you are in the shoe, right? You're the right person to actually talk about this.
Okay, thank you. Honestly, Ishantini, my academic part was not filled with beds of roses at the beginning, and it was
Sure.
very, very far away from the conventional ones. And that is why I have my own initiatives to guide, encourage, motivate, and give a helping hand, especially to the students in higher education. To elaborate on my answer, like I have my AMAs on Facebook. That means I give answers to the questions that have been asked from students on my original
Okay.
Facebook page on 23rd of October 2020. So
Okay.
anybody who is interested in a question regarding education can post the question on my wall post, so that every Monday I will, in the order of appearance, I am
Wow.
answering the questions
That's
in
great.
my AM. So that's one initiative. The other initiative is on LinkedIn Saturday articles. It's all about motivation, the beauty of physics, and those stuff as a motivating platform. And number three is my Right to CNN initiative. That means my email address is write to CNN 2020 at gmail.com, where you can write any question, because I'm a counseling psychologist as well. So if you have any question regarding the education or your personal life, I'll try to help you while protecting your confidentiality within 48 hours. And another project is 365 Happy project, because I try like to keep in touch with my students all the time. So I use a certain communication method each day to do a follow up about my students whom I have taught. And the final one is the project called Catalyst. I mean, if a student comes to me and say, okay, I wish to do my postgraduate work, so I'm in a little bit of financial difficulty. So what I do is I help from my own pocket as like a catalyst, so to give him some sort of a boost. So I mean, even though I do all these 5 initiatives, my AMS, Saturday articles, or write to CNN, 365 happy project or catalyst, I still feel that I should do more because the
Wow.
questions of the students are still rising. And that's why I believe like we as individuals also should come forward and do something. I mean, as a good initiative. That's the main thing, and I really appreciate what you have started also because you are in the research area and you are trying to help and clarify the problems that researchers face and with the industry people. Am I correct?
Yeah, correct.
And so, like for the advice, I can say that I'm very thankful, Vishantini, for myself for finding my passion in one of the STEM subjects, which is physics, at my early years of life. In a nutshell, I'm a physicist with big dreams. And to the fellow ladies or students or anybody else who is listening, I can say is this. I mean, if you have an intense enthusiasm and excitement for things worth doing, so those two ingredients will pull you through the toughest times, according to my experience. And I believe it's the commitment that we need to move forward with sacrifice and discipline. And if you are a STEM lover, you need to have massive amount of patience and accept the research and academic failures because we all go through trial and error. And I believe within each of us, there is abundance of potential, potential to do good, create a better world. So what I can say in a nutshell is like have a strong feeling that change is possible and be excited about it every single day with confidence. As I normally say to my students, I mean, believe you can achieve. So that's my motto in life. And never ever give up until you see the results that you want in life.
I can see that. I am very impressed right now. I didn't know that you had lots of, you were telling the 5 things you were working on, right? So, write to CNN and on your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Saturday articles. So incredible. So, I have to follow up on all these things or whatever you're working on, all these projects. I wanted to ask you before that, what are those common questions that normally students will throw to you? What are the main area that they always face the problem?
Yeah, most of the time, Vishantini, what I get is like, I mean, they have certain relationship issues, right? I mean, they might be having a problem with their fiance or mother, father,
Okay.
the people that they come across. So they have relationship. Other than that, they have financial issues, like I mentioned. Okay, how am I going to work on it? What will be my career? What will be my job about? So I have to do some job oriented counseling as well. So the third problem is regarding their education. So, okay, what shall I do after my first degree? Where shall I go? So the guidance should be supplied to them. So the educational issues are also there. And the fourth thing is about your personality. How you groom yourself, how you communicate with each other, and like the in a nutshell, how you market your knowledge as a professional. So these are the tiny minor issues that what I have come across. That's what I have noticed in 4 areas. The educational issues, the personal relationship issues, educational issues, and the personality. I mean, the issues regarding the personality.
Okay. Actually, just something just came across my mind right now while talking to you, right? So, how did you manage your time? I mean, you being a mother, you being a lecturer, you're doing so many programs, and you still can write articles on every Saturdays. You're being very active, engaging with your students. How do you actually manage your time?
It's all about time management through discipline. And if you have a burning desire, okay, I'm going to change the world in my capacity. So if there's a will, there's a way. according to my students, I am a superwoman in action because I get
Yeah,
up early in the
definitely are.
morning around 2 to 3 a.m. So once you divide your time properly and prioritize your work, these things are no big deals to anybody,
Yeah.
I mean.
I can see lots of passion. Whatever you're having, it's like your desire to what you want to achieve is there. So thank you so much, Dr. Ray. So I had a very good conversation with you. I learned a lot from you today. I mean, like, when I heard that, I was so excited because when I knew you were majoring in physics and you were doing this bioelectric, right? So that was very interesting, especially from banana pit, you're generating electricity. Am I right? Can I
Yes,
can I say that? Yeah. So
yes,
that's
yes.
something. Yeah, that's something so cool. Like, it's biodegradable, and this is what people are working on sustainability altogether and renewable energy. So it's interesting. It's really interesting. And when you were saying that earlier, you had this idea where you had this thought, um, after your degree and everything, like year back 2016, or that's when you get an idea and everything, right? So you had a very clear path of like what you want to do and what you want to make sure you're going to pursue on this, and this is the path that the path that you choose. So that's like very you're a very determined person. You know exactly what you want to do. So this is what I think everyone should learn from you, regardless any gender for the matter. Anyone who wants to pursue, they should know exactly what they want to do, and you're the role model, I would say, because
Thank you.
doing research, and also a part of being a research, you are a lecturer yourself, and then you are very close to your students, and you're doing a lot of projects and a lot of programs. I really don't know how you're doing this. Because I, being a full-time researcher, and I don't have kids, so I still find time to, like, how am I going to manage my time, but you with kids and doing all this is amazing. So it's really
Ishan,
keep up
to
with the
be
good
honest,
work.
like most of us do not know that we are like hardwired to do multitasking and parallel working. So once you have awakened those skills, you can unleash your potential to greater heights.
Yeah, I definitely learned something from you today. So before we end, I just want to ask you, how long does it will take for you to commercialize the product? So because I just wish you could commercialize as soon as possible. This is
The
very good
thing
product.
is that I cannot reveal because we are in a process of the architectural issues. I mean,
Okay.
according to this pandemic, I cannot guarantee it can be 1 year or 2 years or something like that. But even we have to find a competitive, good industrialized person to sell our idea. I don't know whether it will work or not through our industrial license unit. So a little bit of uncertainty is there according to the
Okay.
market as well. So I can't predict the future.
I understand. I understand. There's a lot of uncertainties, but anyway, all the best for your research, and thank you so much for sharing today. So we will keep in touch, and thank you so much, Chaturi. Have a good
Yes, thank you
night.
so much for having me, Shantini. Thank you so much.
Thank
Take care
you.
and have a nice day.
You too.